The search ends for a Knox County murder suspect in Flint, Michigan. Hear from the victim's family.
Coming up, crews here in Knox County spend the majority of their morning cleaning up a mudslide from yesterday afternoon.
Cool and clear for the start of the weekend, but changes arrive for Sunday evening. Those details now at 6.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Good evening again. Tonight we continue to follow the breaking developments into a Southern Kentucky murder investigation. Just before 5 o'clock, we learned police caught this man, Phillip Lee Lewis, in Flint, Michigan. He is now in a jail there and will be extradited back to Kentucky later. Earlier today, before Lewis was caught, WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke with the victim's family in Southern Kentucky.
The arrest of Phillip Lee Lewis brings an end to a manhunt that's lasted more than 3 weeks. And it's still not known why the Michigan native was in southeastern Kentucky.
We've been told that they think that he was just passing through.
Police believe Lewis was trying to hold up the A&B Quick Stop just after midnight that night when Gary Wayne Medlin tried to run out the front door. His family says Medlin was simply a customer trying to get to safety. A life taken and a family that'll never be the same.
It's killed us because somebody has took his life. It wasn't an accident.
Medlin was a brother, a son, a husband, and a father. His youngest child is only 2 years old.
And he's not going to ever get to know his dad. He's not ever going to be able to remember him, just by what we tell him. Police say the 24-year-old Lewis was captured by a task force made up of Michigan State Police, U.S. Marshals, and the FBI. Earlier today, Medlin's family told me they were confident they would eventually find Lewis. We've had a lot of help so far with people posting his picture and trying to get him out there, and that's helped a lot to know that people really do care and they want help just as much as we do to get him caught.
His sister says they've lost, but so has their community because of Medlin's work ethic and kind personality.
He was such a hard worker and such a good person. He was always there to help anybody that ever needed anything, even if he wasn't friends with you yet and he had just met you on the side of the road. He was there to do anything he could.
Warrants issued say Lewis will be charged with murder and first-degree robbery, plus some federal offenses. In Knox County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
State police say because federal warrants were issued, the extradition process to bring Lewis back to Kentucky could be much faster. A Clay County man faces 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor. Deputies say someone called them concerned about 3 children. The caller told deputies the kids were playing near Highway 421. When they arrived, investigators say this man, James Emery, said he fell asleep inside. Investigators say Emery did not know the kids were outside.
Sunshine, the main story today. High pressure going to be sticking around for the first part of that weekend. Let's take a look at Whitesburg. You'll notice partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies. And as you're headed home for work, as long as you can deal with a little bit of the cold temperatures, still not a bad evening for any plans. It's already down to 29 in Jackson, 28 in Lexington, and those 30s hanging tough down in southern and southeastern Kentucky. You'll notice tonight's lows, depending on your spot, the upper teens to lower 20s. Kentucky River region 18 in Hindman, 18 in Jackson, 20 in Hyden, and tonight's lows in the Big Sandy right there around 17 in both Wayne and Logan, West Virginia. Steve will have a full look at that weekend forecast and our next system coming up in a few short minutes.
All right, thank you, Andrew. A mudslide yesterday evening has crews in Knox County working around the clock. The slide brought down trees, rocks, and a whole lot of mud. It shut down a lane of Kentucky 7. WYMT's Connor James was there as crews cleared what was a very messy scene.
Mud, rocks.
Now our primary goal is to get the trees removed from it, all the vegetation.
And a lot of dangerous trees. All had to be removed Friday. A mudslide along Kentucky 7 in Knott County. Transportation officials like Bobby Smith say were caused by weeks of nasty weather.
Extreme cold temperatures we had a couple weeks ago, the freezing and thawing, plus all the rain that we've had.
Others like Doug Howard got a front row seat to the cleanup.
I'd been out of town and came back home and noticed that it had slid off. The county or state had already been here.
He lives right across the street from the slide.
Nothing's moved any more than it had yesterday.
But ask him if he's scared.
No, I didn't. I worked with mining industry for years and slides used to them, so looking at it knowing it wasn't going anywhere.
Not going anywhere, something workers have spent all day working on.
You can watch it and tell if it's trying to scoot on down the hill or whether it's staying where it is.
As they work to stabilize the slide. In Knott County, Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
Crews say they hope to have the road fully open by nightfall. We'll, of course, keep you updated on our website, WYMT.com. Road crews in Perry County evaluated damage on Pratt Mountain Road earlier this morning. It is currently closed due to a major break. The road began to crumble on Thursday due to excessive runoff. Crews will start working on repairs on Monday. Because there's not even enough room for equipment, they plan to remove rock from the ditch line before drilling in railroad steel. Crews expect the project to take 2 or more weeks to fix. Until then, drivers can take a detour on the Maces Creek end of Kentucky 1165 to Kentucky 7. A federal jury found a Williamsburg pharmacist guilty on some but not all charges outlined against her. Kimberly Jones was indicted in June of last year. Prosecutors said Jones illegally distributed narcotics and defrauded Medicaid and Medicare. She owned Kim's hometown pharmacy in Williamsburg. Jones is now in the Laurel County Detention Center. A Breathitt County man pleaded not guilty to murdering his wife this morning. A grand jury indicted Charles Noble earlier this year for killing his wife Anna. Noble faces a murder charge. State troopers said the two were fighting but were not sure what over. A pretrial conference is set for 2 weeks from today on the 22nd. A ruling by America's highest court last year paved the way for states to legalize sports betting. Today, a Kentucky lawmaker started the process to allow you to place a bet on professional sports, online poker, and fantasy sports. Hillary Thornton talked to the man behind the bill.
The Supreme Court making the way for bills like this back in the summer with a ruling allowing the possibility for sports betting in all states.
It's taking off everywhere in a lot of states, and I'd like to see Kentucky be on the front end of this. It's an opportunity for us to provide something that's frankly done in the shadows all over Kentucky with bookies, and you can get on your phone and do it on offshore accounts.
State Representative Adam Koenig filing the bill this week with bipartisan support. It would legalize sports betting, online poker, and fantasy sports in Kentucky. Basically
be able to bet on professional sports games. I think we're going to have allow NCAA betting, but not on Kentucky teams. So it provides some protection for those universities and those kids.
It is something sports fans have flocked to Las Vegas for years, and now to some other states with laws already in place.
Representative Koenig says at this point he has seen more support for this bill than any other bill he has ever filed.
People are hungry for it. They don't understand why they can't do it legally.
This bill would not only legalize something that many in Kentucky already do, but it would also generate some new revenue, some of the funds going to gambling addiction causes, the rest going to the state's grossly underfunded pension systems.
Not going to fix the problem, but it can be one of the tools in the toolbox to get us there.
At the state capitol, Hillary Thornton, WYMT Mountain News.
Sports betting would be regulated by the Horse Racing Commission, and the state lottery would regulate online poker. The bill will likely be discussed and voted on by a committee on Wednesday. A proposed bill aimed at improving school safety in Kentucky passed today in the Senate. Senate Bill 1 would create a statewide school security marshal, improve training for school resource officers, and add annual active shooter training. Today's vote comes after an emotional day of testimony from the parents of the Marshall County school shooting victims. The bill does not include any measures on gun control. A proposed amendment to the Kentucky Constitution is in the hands of the state Supreme Court. Marcy's Law was approved by voters back in November. The amendment would guarantee rights for crime victims, but some say the wording of the ballot question was too vague. The results of the vote have been on hold since November. Because of Justice Bill Cunningham's recent retirement, only 6 justices heard arguments today. If the Supreme Court's decision ends in a tie, attorneys say the previous court's decision will stand. An official winner has been declared in Kentucky's 13th District House race. Incumbent Republican DJ Johnson withdrew from the race, making Jim Glenn the winner. Glenn had originally won the election by 1 vote before a recount concluded the race was a tie. During a hearing today, Johnson said he was in favor of a coin flip deciding the winner, but Glenn's attorneys turned that proposal down. Attorney General and candidate for governor Andy Beshear made several stops in the mountains today. One of them was here in Hazard, where he met with supporters at a local restaurant. Before that, he sat down with us for a taping of Issues and Answers. We discussed a variety of topics from job creation to abortion to legalizing marijuana. You can see it Monday night at 7 here on WYMT. A Night to Shine is returning to Hazard for the 2nd year in a row. The prom-style event honors and celebrates people with special needs in our communities. WYMT's Justin Case is at the First Federal Center at Hazard Community and Technical College, where the red carpet is already rolled out. Justin?
Steve, you just mentioned the red carpet. You're going to see right here behind me. Look, there's the red carpet. Family and friends lined up along the carpet, cheering on their family members as they head into the First Federal Center. Now, last year, this event had about 200 people attend. Organizers say they have about 200 again this year. Now, this event is actually sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation. Typically, they allow people 14 and older to come to the event, but organizers here say there's really no one that they would not allow to come inside and enjoy the event. But once inside, they get their makeup done, they get their shoes shined, and then from there, it's all about dancing, eating, and having a great time.
Even though it's more of a, more of a stigma now to look down on individuals, it still happens. And this night is to uplift them and to make them the center of attention and to just love on them, to show them God's love. And
so there are paparazzi lining the red carpet as well, and they're taking pictures. It's going to be a great night. We're going to have a full story on this event coming up tonight at 11.
Just in case, part of the paparazzi tonight. Great event. Thank you very much. Well, TEDx is making its way to Corbin this year. Straight ahead, you'll meet one of the Eastern Kentuckians set to share her life story. Plus, with colder temperatures on tap this weekend, one group got together for some barbecue for a homeless shelter. Hear why.
And those colder temperatures, they really get started for tonight. We'll be dropping down to the teens for most, and then we start to turn to our next system. Notice rain chances, expected return. We'll tell you exactly when, coming up in 5 minutes.
When you see news happening, dial star 57 or text your news tip to 5757. Service is provided by Appalachian Wireless. Better service, bigger savings.
Hi, I'm me. And that's me 30 days ago before I switched to